It's Daybreak Africa. So blessed morning, reaching you here from our studios in Ondo City. Of course, I'm Ezekiel Ogar.
I am Anire Binitie. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Anire.
Good morning, Ezekiel.
It's a blessed morning, I really must say.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Look, I woke up this morning feeling very different, feeling very, very strong and hopeful. You know, most times it happens when you have a deal that you're doing and it pulls through. It tends to dwarf every other noise around. It silences every other problem that you're going through.
When you say a deal that does pull
when
through.
Money is involved.
Really, I wasn't invited. What happened?
It's different.
I thought we were friends, best of friends.
When you're
in-laws.
Yes, my special in-law. It's different when you're broke and, you know, the noises are louder at that instance, and you tend to see problems in every nook and cranny. But give and take, I woke up very hopeful this morning, and I'm happy.
We'll talk at length when it comes to that deal. We really must know what's up with that deal. Nonetheless, this morning is a blessed day, like I earlier said, and we're talking about a Japa syndrome, affecting Nigeria. It has been for hitting Nigeria hard for over time, for should I say a decade now?
It's a continuous process.
Of course, we have our guest in the house, Person Philip, on standby, radio waiting for us, and we'll get back to the discussion of the day after the short break. Please stay tuned.
Stay with us.
The term Japa, which is derived from Nigerian slang, which translates to escape or flee, is the trending term on social media, which connotes seeking a better life abroad. Unfortunately, in recent years, Nigerians have witnessed a surge in this phenomenal area, which is known as the Japa syndrome.
When we talk about Japa, Japa is actually coined from the Yoruba word that is moving or migrating from where you are to another place. So when we are talking about Japa in this context, you discover that Japa simply means that you are migrating from your own country to other countries that you can actually survive with greener pasture.
Japa, in my own angle, can be seen as a movement for a better life, irrespective of the perspective we are looking at it from.
Most Nigerians believe that if it's not outside the country, the grass cannot be greener. A trend that has led many of them who Japa to sell all they have labored for in bid to travel abroad for greener pastures. A huge risk many have taken to travel abroad. Meanwhile, it has been revealed that these Nigerians who Japa are traveling for different reasons, for mostly job opportunities and better life advancement, while some have chosen to go through educational routes with benefit of having a part-time job to earn extra cash for their keep-up.
To them that are going, the land is greener than where they are coming from. Now the thing is, it depends, because it's a relative terminology, it depends on your own perspective of green or greener. Those of us in the academic, we do go for conferences, we do go for postdoctorals, we do go for sabbaticals, where we spend some, even 1 week, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then we come back.
So there are people who move away for education. Genuinely, there are some people who actually run away, and there are some people who actually relocate. You understand? But in all, one major driving principle or one major thing is that people are looking for a better life. So if there were better life where they are coming from, the issue of Japa wouldn't have originated in the first instance.
It's just simply migrating. You migrate from where you are. And the reason why many people are migrating is that the area they are is not comfortable for them. Everybody wants means of survival. They want to survive. So that is why they have to move to where they can easily survive. And that is where the name comes from, that people are Japa.
Though the brain drain trend was initially restricted to certain professions, it has now become widely spread across professions with the introduction of various visa programs to fill workforce gaps in developed nations. This has led to major loopholes in Nigerian economy, mostly for skilled professionals and unskilled professionals, which has reduced the overall productivity in the country economy.
I remember when I went to Ghana, you see, a lot of things has got spoiled and is getting spoiled in succession. It's just graduating and graduating. Whoever knows that presently as we are now, a dollar is going to be 1,400 as of yesterday. So if you make euro, even if you are a gate man over there, you see, you do your gate man in style and they are paying you just $500. If you change $500, ordinary $500, multiply it yourself by 1,400 naira. You see how much is that?
The land is not truly green because there is no country in the world that is not facing their own challenge. As great as America is today, America is also characterized by a multi-dimensional challenge. But the fact is that in some places there are systems that checks these excesses. There are systems that work. But in our own case, things are appearing not to be getting better.
My advice to the government, like I've already said before, is for us to go back to the drawing table. Do a lot of downtown restructuring. We restructure from the scratch, from the ground, and every restructure point supposed to be monitored and followed by sensitization, by motivation, by reorientation.
So I think what the government should do is that the government should try as much as possible to ensure that the country works for everybody and not just for few. Who are those enjoying the country today? The politicians and those who are into fraud, yahoo and the likes. So people who work productively and economically are not as struggling.
In conclusion, the Nigerian government needs to put strict economic measures and sanctions in place to make better life for Nigerian citizens by creating jobs, rebuilding decaying infrastructure, and creating opportunities that will make the common Nigerian feel at peace at home. Mubarak Salaudin, reporting for KAFTAN TV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it is still Daybreak Africa. Today we're taking a look at a very, very important topic. I know you've heard the term Japa. Now, Japa is a Nigerian word that has become a trend on social media, which depicts the movement of Nigerians, not just ordinary Nigerians, but professionals, skilled workers from Nigeria out of the shores of the country to foreign lands like the United States of America, the Netherlands, Canada, of course, the United Kingdom. We're basically talking about brain drain out of the shores of Nigeria, creating a gap, a serious lacuna in professionalism in the country in all spheres. Now, to discuss this topic today, we have a guest in the house. He is a business strategist, a brand ambassador, is an entrepreneur, as well as a Tony Elumelu Foundation alumnus. He is Philip Nmaduabuchi, who is standing by right now. Philip, it's so nice to have you on our show today.
Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Africa, Philip.
Thank you so much.
So Ezekiel, I know you have lots of questions that you want to ask.
I do.
Philip. But first, before I give Ezekiel the opportunity to ask all those questions that he talked about before we came live, is the fact that I want to ask: do you think, in your opinion, that this is a crisis?
Okay, so thanks for the question. Personally, there are both immediate effects and long-term benefits as well of this. So I don't think this is actually a crisis in its sense, in real sense, presently. However, there are some gaps that are being created in terms of economy and business opportunities as well. There are a lot of challenges and in terms of workforce, for instance, there are a lot of challenges. The organizations are having issue, find the right team. I mean, having to work on their turnover and all of that. So it's a good thing, but there's a challenge as well. It's a challenge for every one of us here in the country.
Yes, but
So,
your reply or reaction is really something very different. I think I've never heard anyone tell us both sides of the situation. A lot of people will actually see the negative and not the positive. As, like you rightly said about professionals, there's a dearth in professionalism right now because the gap has not been filled. It's difficult for companies to train people and for the people to just up and disappear all in the pursuit of greener pastures. I know that a lot of people, we have that situation in the country right now. But of course, you are the professional who will be giving us both sides of the analysis today. So I'm going to hand over to Ezekiel to
Well,
bring in
at
his
this
own.
point, I guess the words tend to kind of pique my interest as to the advantages of brain drain. Can you take us through those advantages you tend to see through as a person?
okay, so in my own view, I believe that, take for instance, there are job opportunities that would have been difficult for some young professionals to get into if the senior guys that were there still remain in the country, all right, and because this senior people have to either relocate for greener pasture, so they create room for the young guys who ordinarily would have gotten the opportunity to come in. I think that is one. Two is the fact that in terms of people here also as well are able to now sit up and say, okay, I mean, this was supposed to take years for this person to go from entry level to going to manager level and then maybe the executive level. But with this whole Japa thing, a lot of people are able to accelerate the corporate ladder faster.
Well,
Okay.
Well, it's funny to actually trying to understand this perspective because it's more like you're the first person I've ever encountered to actually
Exactly,
say
Ezekiel.
things as this, try to support this brain drain movement and all such. But I tend to wonder, is the grass really green on the other side, or is it more like things we just, tend to imagine our heads, trying to just figure it out or imagine, it could be better in the UK, it could be better in Canada. Is it really better over
Netherlands.
there?
Yes, we can't deny the fact that when you relocate outside Nigeria and you go to a country where the economy is more stable and then there are better infrastructure, first, that's a breakthrough on its own in a way. And yes, it's more greener for most people going for that. And however, we can still see that there are a lot of expatriates entering into Nigeria, which means there's still there are a lot of beautiful things, to talk about in Nigeria as well. But relooking outside Nigeria can be a plus for those that want to advance in terms of education, in terms of their career, those that want to gain global exposure, those that want to, earn in foreign currency, those that would just want to stay outside Nigeria and then explore that global opportunities. So it's greener out there for them. However, I've heard a saying, someone said that for most people relocating outside Nigeria, they're not going there to become the richest person in such country or city. They are going there because they want a better life, all right? And then for every country out there, there are still poor people in those countries. Even in the US, there are a lot of poor people too in the US. Just that the margin over there is lower compared to Africa or the third world nations.
Okay.
So yes, it's green.
Yes, so it's green. Now, again, I want to reiterate that this is the first time that I've heard anyone, just like Ezekiel said, see the positive of the Japa movement that is happening. But of course, tell us that there's a positive and of course a negative. I didn't even see the conversation starting this way that will actually begin from the positive. Now, talking about the positive, I'm happy again that Ezekiel asked the question, because there's this general belief that the grass is greener. But we've had a situation whereby Nigerians who have left the shores of the country give back reports. In fact, on social media, we see a lot of Nigerians, and quote, advise those that are here not to even join them. So in situations like that, what do you have to say?
All right, so I think relocating outside Nigeria is not the problem, all right, but it's who are you here in Nigeria, and then what opportunity is waiting for you over there, all right? So if you have a corporate job already planned for you, or you have a business already planned to set up or start over there, it's more interesting that way to relocate. However, it can be more complex and complicated if there is plan over there. Just feel that, oh, once I can relocate outside Nigeria, I'm going to find this greener pasture, I'm going to become billionaire overnight, and all of that. That can be complicated.
Okay. Now, before Ezekiel comes in, I still want to pursue this belief that the grass is greener at the other side, that Nigerians have, or any other person that is living in your country, especially from Africa to overseas. Now, what is the place of skill? Because you rightly said that we have poor people abroad, just like we have in Nigeria. And there's this general belief that, I mean, for those of us left back home, once one of us travel out of the country, we expect that the dollars, the pounds begin to flow in like water, and that we don't take excuses from those that have traveled out of the shores of the country. And sometimes when they go, the expectations are cut off. It's not what they expect that they meet over there. So what is the place of skill acquisition alongside what they read or the job interest they have traveling out of the shores of the country? So we don't get stories that touch at the end of the day.
Okay, that's an interesting question. So I've heard someone say again that there's a particular bank manager in Nigeria who relocated abroad. I think back then it was about 18 million naira to relocate to UK or so. And then he saw the woman, I mean, she worked somewhere where she happened to be a cleaner. Now, a bank manager in Nigeria, now over there, a cleaner. Now, the only difference here is the fact that over there she's earning more, but here she had a better job in terms of when we look at it from the corporate angle or corporate ladder. But in terms of earning ability, it's lower here. Why? The market here, the GDP here is not as strong as the GDP over there. And so the lifestyle over there too, and then the opportunity that exists is way better for certain people over there as well.
Well, I know for a fact they tend to earn more over there, but isn't it more like they tend to earn more and then spend more? You know, they have taxes, they have other major expenses they have to, expend on. And so it's more like as much as they get, they give out that much.
Okay, so let's take it back as well. So from the angle from what's the last question, that in terms of skill, what's the place of skill in this whole movement or so?
Movement.
Yeah. So what is the place of skill? For some, okay, I've heard a couple of people say, oh, now that they're in the UK or in the Canada, that just to come and change, fix their plumbing stuff cost a lot of money. Some people say, oh, making hair over there costs a lot of money. Some of them have to do it by themselves, those that have the skill, or those that have the skill can now offer those, aside also, and all of that. Then again, for the place of skill, skill become important if the professional angle is not well planned. For instance, we have a company, like I know a friend who relocated with the husband from Nigeria about a year plus now to US. They got a job, and then the wife had to travel with the husband. Everything was planned, the trip, everything. So they are living a good life. The wife have to even come back and then do a couple of things in the country went back and all of that. So if it's someone that has a job and have a well-secured opportunity before traveling, they're going to have a better start and all of that. But for someone that didn't have all of those, opportunity plan, just say, oh, you know what, anyhow, let me just leave this country, let me just leave the shop this country, I'm going to find the opportunity out. It can be difficult starting, and then some of them eventually have to start running around when their visa expire and all of that. So let's talk about the earning capacity and back to the question Ezekiel asked. So yes, you have to pay taxes. Yes, you have to pay for your accommodation. Yes, you have to, if you need to pay an organization to look for a job for you, you have to pay. If you need to further education, you have to pay and all of that. So, but then you also earn more, and then you're sure that okay, the lifestyle, the work-life balance over there is better, and then it's just a matter of time they become more stable and all of that. So I also saw on social media where people argue the fact that, oh, why should people spend a lot of millions of naira to relocate abroad and go and do cleaning job and all of that? So you see banter online, and people are like, you know, the lifestyle here is better. You don't have to pay for NEPA, you don't have to pay for good road, you don't have to pay for a lot of things. They're just basic things that they have there. So if you can pay more and then have that good lifestyle, and then I think for most people, they're just cool with that. But the problem is that the chances of them achieving that, life fulfillment or purpose in terms of, becoming the managing director of a particular organization over there, or building a very successful business and all of that, might not be as easy as doing it in Africa. But then they will make good money over there because they're earning at once.
But with that, isn't it better, they just tend to invest in their country and, tend to have so many sorts of streams of income instead of, trying to, should I use the word, do away with what they have, trying to start afresh in a foreign land and all that. The difficulty to challenge, the racism, a challenge attached to all this. Isn't this more challenging?
So it's, you have to understand people are in a situation where they are feeling frustrated, where they're feeling that there is no more hope, where they feel that, okay, the future here for them is not really aligned to the vision they have for themselves. People tend to go to where they just can get that lifestyle. Some people just want to give their kids a better life. They want a country where their kid have to pray, for lights, where their kid have to shut up NEPA when lights comes on. And they don't want a situation where you have to be on ASU strike for a couple of maybe months and and then end up spending 5 years, 6 years for a 4 years course. So those are extra things people look at for, and then the price to pay is that they have to pay more money in terms of tax and all of that, and then basically that. So it's just about that comfort, and then know that okay, the government over there is taking care of their needs, and they have to pay for certain things and all of that. So I think that is just the people they choose that option, in my own view.
Now recent studies have shown that reason that Nigerians travel out of the shores of the country is because they have lost total hope. Those who leave have lost total hope in the nation, and there are different reasons that they give when they are asked. Rise in unemployment is one of them, worsening security situation, high cost of living, which we all are grappling with right now, bad governance and leadership, among others. Ezekiel rightly asked a question that if we agree that the grass is not greener at the other side, if we agree that we can also improve our lives despite the odds right here in the country, why travel out of Nigeria in such droves? Again, I'm coming back to ask the question, are you saying that Nigerians traveling out should have a plan B?
Yes, that is actually the plan. It's plan B for them, and for every Nigerian, most Nigeria, actually every Nigeria, for most Nigeria, moving through this Japa mindset or mentality, it's about plan B, plan B, plan B. That is it for them.
So what advice do you have in terms of that? What advice? Because we've had a situation of suicide. those who travel thinking that the grass will be greener, that things will fall into place because there's so much expectation. We've had, stories here and there where people actually, after getting out of Nigeria, some go have serious mental issues because their expectations are not met. Some go as far as doing the worst, taking their lives. They've had one or two incidences like that. So if they have the intention to Japa, as it were, we're talking about plan B, which they never put into plan because they go based on what they see on TV, based on what those who have gone tell them. So in your own, if you want to advise those who have the plan or are planning or they are even almost out of the shores of Nigeria, what type of plan B should they have before they proceed?
Okay, so first thing is they have to be an objective. They have to be a goal while they're traveling. So they have to be a reason why they want to migrate outside Nigeria and all of that. So that's the first thing. Maybe because of they want a better lifestyle for themselves and their family. Maybe because they want to pursue some academic, goals. Maybe it's because they want to gain global exposure. Maybe it's because they want to build their network and all of that. So they have to be a goal. Maybe because they want to make good money, then come back, invest in Nigeria or buy property in Nigeria and all of that. So whatever the reason, but it has to be a goal, all right? So in line with that goal, those that have the opportunity to get good job, I still go back to that, get good job, because that is one way to have a good start when you relocate outside Nigeria. If you already have a good job, then it's easier to make things work. And secondly, I also suggest that it's best to ensure there's a clear plan that can help you achieve that vision. So if it's study, what plan, what research, what's the progress so far? Have you made plan? Have you gotten the admission and all of that? Then if it's work, who is going to help you secure that job? Do you have anyone already? Do you have family? Do you have friends and all of that? Then where are you going to stay when you get there? Some people really don't have where they're going to stay somehow, but who is going to help out with that? And in terms of family, so what's the plan for the family? Are you going to be there for long? What kind of visa do you have and all of that? So I go back to say the most important thing to do, which is the first step, is what is the goal? What is the vision? Set a goal, set a vision. If you want to earn more, how much is more for you? All right. If you want to own property, what kind of property? If you need job, what kind of job do you need over there? And it's even amazing that today there are a lot of Nigerians who stay in Nigeria and earn abroad, and they live well as well. They make a lot of money they put over there abroad. So I say the world is a global village, and if you're able to connect with global opportunity, you can make money from anywhere you are around the world.
Okay.
But
we need to go on a short break now. When we return, we shall be continuing with the discussion. But when we return, we will want to take a look at the negative side of the positive that you've talked about, talking about the Japa syndrome. We'll take a short break. Our guest is still here. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. If you're still with us, this is still Daybreak Africa, reaching you here from our studios in Ondo City. Of course, that's been quite an interesting topic, talking about Japa syndrome in Nigeria. And for the first time in a very long time, we have a guest that actually agree with the government, believing brain drain will never bring us to our knees. Matter of fact, he believes it's going to, make allowance for other Nigerians, to, take the spot and take the chair when need be. Now, we're talking about, Philip, are you still with us? We're talking about the advantages, and before we actually left for the short break, Binitie was talking about you getting us through the disadvantages of this brain drain, if you have any at all, because you seem very sentimental, or should I say you're in the part of the government at this point?
Not really. So not really, but the way I'm wired is to look at situations and say, okay, what can we make out of this? And if you look at let's focus on some of the challenges now. The truth is mostly not easy for most people in the country right now. mostly not easy. For instance, accessing forex to be able to do quite a number of maybe importation or other form of businesses is difficult. Dollar to naira is, it's above the roof right now, and even, to travel abroad now, you need a lot of money to be able to travel abroad and all of that. So there's a challenge there. So the unemployment rate is on the rise. Inflation rates is on the rise. Businesses are shutting down. In the last 1 year, last 2 years, quite a number of big organizations that have been here for decades have had to shut down their doors and relocate outside Nigeria and move out. And then there's rumor about a global business here in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria precisely, that is also planning to shut down the operation. And initially, they had promised they're going to invest is it $500 million or so over a period of time in Africa, and then employ over 200 staffs or thereabout. But they are shutting down right now to whatever reason. So
let's talk about global inflation you just mentioned. I know for a fact Nigeria tends to actually witness this inflation amongst every other African country in this continent. Europe tends to actually encounter inflation. Recently, I was going through the news, and it's massive right now in Europe and amongst other European and American nations. Now, I tend to wonder: is it more like Nigeria tends to experience just the same general inflation, or is our problem or challenge more like a personal affliction?
Okay, so I would shift our focus right now to something that we need to also look at. So I was opportunity to be in a room where there were high-level conversation as regards the economy and the likes. And these are industry stakeholders. They were all sharing their view. So the number one question is, where is our GDP currently? And then how are we making money as a country? So currently, the GDP is about $500 billion. And then the goal of Mr. President is to take it to 1 trillion economy, which of course is possible. But then the indices are showing that it's going to be challenging achieving that. However, one of the challenges will be we make bulk of our money as a country from crude oil, and then currently Nigeria crude oil capacity is about 1.3 million barrel per day, and 50% of that is going to the IUCs, all right, which means we only have about 650,000 barrels per day for our own consumption in Africa, and in Nigeria. So what this means for us is, for Mr. Chukwudi, for Mr. Maybe Mr. Wale or Mrs. Jumoke, who is a trader, a business owner, and need to buy something from China or other countries around the world and need forex. The way we generate forex as a country is when we sell our crude oil. So now, if Mr. Wale, Mr. Chukwemeka, or any other Nigerian don't get this forex to be able to import, then there won't be productivity, there won't be, the economy will be affected. Aside from, as a country as well, when there is unemployment rates, it affects everyone as well. It affects the economy itself. So in summary, I would say the inflation, yes, is global, but because of our situation, peculiarity of the country, it's hitting Nigeria harder than it is across the globe.
Across the globe. And that's why it seems like a lot of people are like, okay, no, let me just take this country to a country. Imagine the US is about 25 to 26 trillion economy versus Nigeria that is $500 billion economy. So it means the earning capacity over there will be higher than what it is in Nigeria. So to summarize this, yes, there's global inflation. Yes, it's affecting most countries around the world, but Nigeria is different because our productivity in terms of economy is not really matching to what is needed. So yes, if
we can improve, then things will get better.
Now, apart from inflation, immigration has stunted a lot of sectors in the country, the health sector, the tech sector, academics. In fact, name it, this brain drain syndrome is becoming, according to research, a big problem for Nigerians. Now, the African Union stated in its reversed policy framework for Africa and Plan Action 2018 to 2027 that an estimated 70,000 skilled professionals immigrate from Africa each year. And according to report, Nigeria lost over 9,000 medical doctors to the United Kingdom, Canada, and USA. Between 2016 and 2018 alone. We don't have the statistics from 2019 to 2024 to give. This is alarming to the extent that we now have up to 1.2 to 1.6 billion US dollars annually, which is spent on medical tourism. Now, if we talk about the health sector, the same story goes for tech, the same story goes for academics, where the big heads are all out of the shores of the country. Again, we're taking a look at the long-term effect of Japa on the Nigerian economy. Let's start with health. For example, it is a big problem. I know you have something to add to what I've said.
All right. So when it comes to health, that is not it's not something we can negotiate. If one is sick, they need medical attention and all of that. So it's when it comes to having our medical professionals leave the country, poses challenges to the healthcare sector in Nigeria, and then of course open up tourism. Medical tourism and all of that. So, in my own view, right. How will I say to this? So I would say government has a big role to play in this matter, right? Government has a big role to play.
How? Why would you say that?
All right. So if there are more incentives, if there are better opportunities for a medical doctor here in Nigeria, I'm sure the person don't want to relocate out of Nigeria yet. If I can earn the same amount of money outside Nigeria, if I can earn the same amount in Nigeria as the same, but what I could also earn outside Nigeria, and then maybe the tax here and other things are more favorable for me here, then why should I travel? Maybe just go for tourism, come back. So the government needs to, look into that sector and make it more appealing for most of our people in this sector.
Now, do you think Nigerians traveling abroad are quite impatient? And do you think policies made by administration so far, including the past and the present, tend to withheld people just a little bit from really taking that initiative of just going outside the country?
Okay, sorry, please, can you take the question again?
I was wondering if you thought or felt Nigerians are quite impatient with our current situation. Maybe just a little patience here and there, and in due time things all will be well. And do you consider policies made by our governments? Do they really encourage people to go out, or is it more like discourage people? And make them want to stay back?
From what we are seeing, and then from the government policies so far, it's more like it's becoming more difficult for people to be able to relocate outside Nigeria. For instance, yes, from before now, it was not as expensive as it is today to relocate outside Nigeria. And then, in terms of visa as well, we've seen more visa rejection and all of that. So governments on its own wants most people to stay back as much as they can, especially youth. But the fact is, most youth can't stay. And it's not about being patient or being impatient. It's about the fact that time is going, time is counting. So for a young guy who wants to get married, settle down, have kids, and all of that, they need millions of naira to do that right now. For those that need to train their kids in school right now, they need quite a huge amount of money to do that. So it's not about being patient. It's about the fact that people have dreams, they have visions, they want to see fulfill, and they want to go to places or countries where they can get those opportunities and be able to fulfill their dreams. So, and the government on the other side is like looking for ways to keep them keep everyone keep as many people in the country so we all can build together and all of that.
And pardon me, Philip, but sometimes in your statement you made it seem as if it's so impossible for one to fulfill dreams and aspiration in Nigeria. Must it be, outside the country? Must it have to be Canada or the US? It's more like you believe it's more like there can be nothing done in this nation.
No. I think that's not the perspective. So that's not the perspective I'm pushing. So, for instance, how can I know people that are successful here in Nigeria? And I can mention one name. I don't know. A number of Nigerians that have started here in Nigeria and become big here in Nigeria. Maybe two names. For instance, Mr. Tony Odumelu, he was born in Nigeria, grew in Africa, schooled in Africa, studied business in Africa, and he's super successful. And today he's doing amazing work in Africa. Mrs. Ogulesi too, who also have a big fashion brand here in Lagos. Staying here in Lagos, Nigeria, and now they've expanded to different parts of Nigeria as well. These are Nigerians who in Nigeria have gone through, they've been in business, through different phases of Nigeria. This is not the first time people are actually doing Japa. This is not the first time they're actually inflation. This is not the first time that the economy is biting hard. So, but these who have had that staying power to go through different phases and all of that. So, yes, you can succeed here in Nigeria. Yes, you can succeed in Africa. But then some people think it's faster because they feel when they earn dollars, it's have more value, or when they earn pounds, it's more valuable for them. So they're looking at time. So if I can make 1,000 pounds, per month, possibly, versus staying here and looking for a job of 500K or 200K and all of that, it's way better to, people tend to not choose that option. But at the end of the day, it's a choice.
Yes, it's a choice. Okay, now there's one thing that has come out of this Japa trend that is happening in the nation, the fact that there is a huge gap in skilled workers in organization, in most organizations. Most organizations spend millions of naira, sometimes in dollars. I know an organization that will send its workers outside the shores of Nigeria to go and learn and improve themselves as well as the company. And even sometimes these people disappear when they get there, and those who return eventually leave the shores after tasting and seeing what happens there with the stories that come. They leave these companies and travel out of the Japa out of the country. And at the end of the day, these companies have to fill in those gaps. And now most of those companies are not training again, or not as much as they do. Now, on the long term, if this continues as people continue to Japa, what effect do you think this would have on the economy?
Okay, so I will do the positive and negative as well. All right. So, for me, in terms of both short-term and long-term effects, have to look at it from both sides. And then immediate, there's already a lot of challenge in terms of turnover when it comes to workforce in organizations. And then most HR are on their toes, and a lot of organizations. And I think that's part of why organizations are actually shutting down, among other policies that is affecting them. So short-term effects is what we're already seeing. And people are, shutting down their businesses. People are looking for jobs outside Nigeria. There's increase in unemployment rate because when a company shut down, they have to lay off their staffs, and this means people go back to labor market and all of that. And then this also go back to affect the economy because this person or these people cannot afford the normal life that they used to enjoy while they were still working. And then so it affects the lifestyle and society in general. But then at the same time, the opportunities as well, long-term opportunities. So let's look at some of them. In fact, let's look at some of immediate opportunity. For those that have secured plans and opportunities before leaving the shore of Nigeria, it means they can even start earning. Maybe they get there, or they can earn even while they are still in Nigeria before relocating abroad. Okay. So it means they can start providing supporting their family, all right, directly or indirectly, to live better lifestyle here in Nigeria as well. while they explore that global opportunity. And then, as a country, one thing we now enjoy is that, of course, there'll be more remittances coming back into the country. And then, again, is the fact that we now have people who have traveled abroad, these long-term effects, who have traveled abroad, gain global exposure, got to the peak of their career over there. They're like, okay, let's get back to Nigeria and see how we can build together. And then this way, able to come back with innovations, come back with great ideas, come back with great strategy, come back with huge networks of possible global partners who could possibly invest in Africa. But then, on the other side as well, the challenging part is the fact that investors too are very skeptical about, oh, should they invest in the country or not? But most business owners and investors understand that the best time to actually invest is when it's not when everything is settled, but when there's challenge, being able to above the present challenge and look at the possible opportunities. We have a huge population in Nigeria, over 250 million people, and then there's no way all the 250 million people will migrate out of the country. There's no way. So it means there will always be a huge market for investors, and then of course there'll be more room for entrepreneurship. So African entrepreneurs are not going to exploring more opportunities, solving problems within their societies, getting global investors to come in. Now, I mean, we're able to sell their companies or get acquired by other organizations.
Okay. I wish we could go on. I wish we could go on and on, but we've just been told that we don't have time, no more time. We hope to see you again on the show where we can talk on more issues as it concerns Nigeria, as it were. If you're just joining us, you've missed all of the conversation, but you can always catch up on our social media platforms, where today we're talking about Japa syndrome, the long-term effect on the Nigerian economy. And our guest has been Philip Nmaduabuchi, who is a business strategist. Philip, we appreciate you and we thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much. I look forward to coming again and to share more and discuss further. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For me on the show, it says bye-bye.
Of course,
Ezekiel?
I forever remain Ezekiel. Okay, you have a great day ahead.